Hey yo guys, how's it going? Tally here, and today I'm going to bring you a deck that I've been having a little bit of fun in the background with recently, and that deck is Lyrilusc Tri-Brigade, otherwise known as Bird Up. Now, this deck is really fun. I wouldn't say it's quite tier 1, but it does have some cool, interesting plays, and it's got some combos which I'll be happy to bring you a little bit further down the line. Now, as always, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe if you're new here, and of course make sure to comment your thoughts down below. Feel free to check out the question of the day. Now let's dive in. So first things first, we're going to be going over the Tri-Brigade aspect of the Lyrilusc Tri-Brigade deck. Now, we have Fractal, we have Kit, we have Keris, and we have Nerval. Let's talk about these guys. Now, the Tri-Brigade Fractal is pretty nuts in the sense that it is essentially a Foolish Burial for any of the Tri-types. Now when I say Tri-types, I mean Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast. Alrighty, essentially anything that encompasses like part Beast. This is a Foolish Burial for those entire 3 types, which is kind of nuts, okay? And because this guy is a Beast Warrior, you can effectively have 6 copies of him because you're running Fire Formation Tenki, which will search him. So effectively, you're running 6 different Foolish Burials, and you're probably asking yourself, why is a Foolish Burial so good in this deck? Well, Kit, when she's sent to the graveyard, she can actually send another Tri-Brigade card, whether that be a monster or whether that be a spell or trap. That will be relevant soon. Keris doesn't really do anything when he's sent to the graveyard, but he has a good special summon by discarding another Tri-type. You can special summon himself and use the resources you have in graveyard for link summons. And finally we have Nerval, which is of course a searcher when it's sent to the graveyard, so this will search you a monster. Again, there's a lot that you can do with this package and it's really tight, really nice. The other thing about the Tri-Brigades that I haven't really mentioned is that they essentially have a Miracle Fusion-like effect on field, except instead of fusing it, it's for link monsters. So you can use Beast Warriors, Beasts and Winged Beasts to summon out monsters from your extra deck, which is pretty dang nuts because oftentimes you can actually cheat monsters out that have no right at all being summoned with the materials that you're using, but that is part of the combo and it's very tasty. Okay, so again, Foolish Burial goods, an extra special summon, and a searcher when sent to the graveyard. Overall, it's a nice tight package, and they all have the ability to be normal summons as well, because you can get extra value out of your graveyard resources. Now, let's talk about the Lyrilusc part of the deck. So we have Turquoise Warbler at 3, Cobalt Sparrow at 2, and a Sapphire Swallow at 1. Really, I have seen people mess about the ratios of these two. This is the most important one, okay, because it's a starter. Turquoise Warbler, essentially what it does is, if you control no monsters, you can special summon it from your hand, and then you can special summon a Lyrilusc from your hand or graveyard. So it's okay to see this, and it's okay to see this in your hand and this in your hand, but you also do have access to it through the Tri-Brigade cards like Fractal. Alright, so you can go ahead, ditch these two, summon this, then this, when it's special summoned, will actually allow you to add a level 1 Winged Beast, which by the way would be Nerval. And this doesn't really have an on-summon effect, but if you control a Winged Beast monster, you can special summon it, and then you can special summon a level 1 Winged Beast from your hand as well. Alrighty, so I'm a fan of this ratio. I think this one's the one that you want to see. This one you're not too bad about seeing, and this one you can search pretty easily, so like there's no point in loading up and bricking on it. Next, for normal summons, because the deck has a lot of things it can do without necessarily needing a normal summon, it's Kinkabil, right? This is essentially a level 1 monster reborn, so you can use this to reborn a level 1 monster, and it's just nice, right? Because then you can go into link plays, you can go into Xyz plays. Some of your level 1 Xyz literally don't really need anything other than 2 level 1s, so you can use this and then dodge its effect that it banishes whatever it revives. So again, this is really nice. It allows a bit of a grind game and allows you to search out cards for the cost of your normal summon, which is pretty fine by me. Now in terms of hand traps, I'm currently running these. To be honest, I think you've got a lot of space to play with hand traps in this deck. I did cut 3 Ash for the Forbidden Droplet, because I wanted a good amount of board breaker cards as well as setup prevention. I think DD Crow's really good this format, I think Droll's kinda nuts this format. Gamma's just good going second because, to be quite frank, to stop your opponent's plays so harshly, and it's a negate and a destroy on your opponent's turn, is fine. Also, Gamma can protect things like your Tenki from Ash, it can protect things like Fractal because it won't be in the graveyard, so it actually does allow a little bit more versatility in what plays you're going to make, and it allows a little bit more protection. But those are the hand traps. I don't think you necessarily need to stick strictly to these hand traps. I just think they're good. DD Crow especially because it's searchable through some of our extra deck cards. Like, why wouldn't you play it? And speaking of searchable from our extra deck, we have Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds and Mist Valley Apex Avian. Now, you can cheat both of these out with Simorgh. So essentially the game plan for this is set up Simorgh to bring out this and then have some protection around it, which by the way, Blazing Vortex made way easier. This is your turn 1 play. Provided you're not going up against like a back row deck, you can cheat this out on turn 2 to consistently just keep protecting your plays because it's summonable from deck and hand. Apex Avian's always going to bounce itself back to the hand for its negate, so of course you have a lot of like recursion for your Apex Avian. And then of course we have the driver for the Gamma. We have Free Fire Formation Tenki, essentially giving us 6 copies of Fractal. We've got Forbidden Droplet because it's alright. Some of these cards kind of are actually better in the graveyard. We have Tri-Brigade Rendezvous, which is like extra protection for your winged beast that you're summoning, so essentially Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds, and it's dumpable off of kit. For our last 2 cards we have Foolish Burial, because again this deck likes to make use of its graveyard, and I chucked in a Harpy's Feather Duster just because I would always like to have that safety, that if I'm going up against like a deck that's using mine, that I've always gotten out. And then realistically, like, it's just the sackiest and most beautiful of one-offs to hit. It doesn't have to be Harpy's Feather Duster though. Let me know down in the comments what you would change it with. And that's our main deck. Let's move on to our extra deck. So we have Recital Starling and Assembled Nightingale. Now, this is a searcher, okay, so it can search out level 1 winged beasts, which is Nerval, your Lyriluscs, even DD Crow if you want an interruption. And then we have Assembled Nightingale, which allows itself to attack directly, allowing you to go into Zeus. That's really what they do. Then we have Linkuriboh and Almirage that essentially exist just to protect your Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds. We have Tri-Brigade Ferrijit. She's just nuts as an extender. She's a special summon, so she allows you to like unclog your hand, and also when she's sent to the graveyard you get to then draw a card and pop a card at the bottom of your deck, so if you've drawn any bricks they can just go right back and you can replace it with a combo piece. We've got Double Dragon Lords, which is essentially a bounce for your opponent's turn, meaning that your Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds is safe because they can't special summon anything other than wind monsters, so you're nice and safe. They can't really do anything against it, and you've just stopped their only potential play. We also have Harpy Conductor, which is really just to help go into the Simorgh link with some of our Tri-Brigade plays. The Simorgh link, which is really the heart and soul of the deck that allows us to have our big plays. We have Appaloosa because we can make it along with Simorgh for extra protection during our opponent's turn. Tri-Brigade Rugal, the Silver Sheller, which essentially just makes it easier to summon out Appaloosa. And then we have Tri-Brigade Shrike, or Shurig. This card, honestly, kinda nuts because again, it's removal for tough cards such as like Dragoon. Dragoon's a hard card to remove, but it's removal. Also, it acts as a searcher when it sends to, when it's sent to the graveyard. So of course you've got more consistent plays. And then finally we have Downward Magician for our Xyz package and Zeus to end on when we attack directly to break a board. Really, I'm loving this deck. Let's talk about the side deck, which again I very much recommend you don't copy card for card. They're really just ideas, and I'll explain some of the ideas that I have seen popularly that may or may not be something that you're interested in. So I'm going to move this over here. Okay, so we have Lancia because, you know, VW, banishing's a thing, Lancia is just good. We have Lightning Storm because you want to have a real powerhouse going second. Same with Red Reboot, this deck can OTK. Same with Evenly Matched, you just want to have as much blowout cards going second as possible. But when you're up against a back row base matchup, the combo of Anti-Spell and Dark Simorgh is insane. Essentially, your opponent cannot set cards, right, when Dark Simorgh is on the field. So that rules out traps immediately. Now it makes traps pretty much useless. Spells could get around it, so that's why we play Anti-Spell. When you've got the combo of Dark Simorgh and Anti-Spell on board, they can't set spells either, but they have to set spells to be able to use them. And again, it's just like a total lockout of back row. And then of course we also have Imperial Order, which just helps us lock out back row even more. So Dark Simorgh is actually a pretty nutty card, and it's pretty tasty along with Anti-Spell and Imperial Order. So that is the deck. Overall, I'm a big fan of this. I would love your thoughts down below. Let's take it to the outro. Guys, as always, if you like it, give it a like. If you love it, give it a share and tell everyone you know about Team Tally today. And if you have made it this far but you have not joined Team Tally, then make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. As always, you have been amazing. I have been Tally. I'll catch you later. Bye.